Hello, welcome to Lemon Studios, where we talk anything and everything entertainment. I'm, of course, the Lemon himself, Zeke Lemon. This is my review for episode 6 of Alien Earth. But before we get into that, let's get the house clean out of the way. Share them to leave a like. Comment below, let me know your thoughts on Alien Earth. And, of course, hit that subscribe button as it helps me grow into my YouTube career. I would greatly appreciate it. Now, all that out of the way. Let's get into it, shall we? So, another week done, and now we only have 2 weeks left of this show. I am very curious and excited to see how this all ends. But also at the same time, I don't want it to end because I think this show overall has been an absolute ball. I've had a great time every single week tuning into it and then discussing it with y'all. A lot of fun theories have been discussed on TikTok. A lot of fun conversations have been happening here. It's just been a good ride overall. Now, with that said, I didn't necessarily love this episode. I still liked it. I was still very much engaged. But if I was to rank all the episodes, this one would definitely be in the lower tier of it. It kind of took until, I want to say, the last 20 to 25 minutes until it finally got cooking. And I don't recall how long this episode was. I know it was near an hour. So, I mean, it had a good second half, to say the least, because it was about 5 minutes away from 30 minutes being great. But, it was like mid-third quarter heading into the fourth where, this the ball really started to get rolling. You can call it the Minnesota Vikings episode if you watch Monday Night Football. But yeah, a lot of the execution in this one, some things are really, really intriguing to me. Some of the things I don't really love what we did with some of the characters and with some of the conversations, some of the interactions, and knowing where this is leading up. Because I would overall say this was a setting of the table episode. In that I think this set the table for what I believe is going to be an absolutely bonkers penultimate next week, and that I am pretty confident will be the best episode of the season thus far, because everything we did with Wendy in particular, she's the one that I didn't really love everything that we did with her because it was a tale of two halves. I somewhat understand where she's coming from, but I don't. It's just this other element that got added just feels very out of left field, because it feels like her main motives have been, one, her brother, and then two have been, to please the prodigy, right? Because she's the number one, he's the number one, and she's the number one child in a lot of ways, and he gave her this body and all these different things, so she wants to please him. And now we're adding this whole, Kirsch was right. And I guess they did have some conversations of, being a Sith is better and all that, but I don't feel like it was really hammered home completely. Because, in the beginning, she's like, yeah, this place is great. I don't really want to leave. Yeah, so if you find a way out, I don't want to leave. And we should stay here forever. And, the boy genius is a great guy. And then later on, when the girl, when she talks with her, I guess the mother, the female scientist, and she finds out that one of her other siblings, I do not recall this person's name, of the Lost Boys, the one that thought she was pregnant, but then they mind wiped her, which I wasn't a huge fan either of how that all went about, because it just felt like, we need Wendy to start down and everything, so we're going to have her do this. Because I really do feel like everyone who's hired by the project is all about the program, and especially the butler for sure. Like, he's not going to want anything to detriment that, or warp that, or fix that. I should say, like to put the fixes in. I should say would be a better saying for that. But yeah, that whole conversation there, I wasn't a huge fan of. I don't feel like the guy had to get fired in order to get to where we were going. I feel like he could have just been there and then have the conversation with her brother that I can also not remember to save my life. There was just a lot of things within that I wasn't a huge fan of. But yeah, we do the mind wipe. They have the conversation in her room like, hey, you thought you were pregnant? And then she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, well, after we got back from the city, goes, we never been to the city because, again, her mind's been wiped. And then she goes to talk to her, and they're having the conversation. You go, Kirsch was right. I don't know. It just, unless I missed something, which is possible, please comment below and correct me on it. That one, I just didn't fully, I just wasn't fully buying. Now, this show has done a well enough job for me to give them the benefit of the doubt. I'll see what happens in the next 2 episodes, because Kirsch is also really interesting to me too. But to get the last negative note that I have out of the way, and again, please educate me. if I'm not understanding the metaphor, by all means. But I really don't get why Peter Pan is so important. The story of Peter Pan is so important because we have some of the lines from the novel in this episode as well. I'm just like, what is the purpose of this? I know it's kind of like the going into the themes of like what people were doing within the episode, but at the same time, it's like, I mean, cool. Yeah, you call this place Neverland. You're naming them after the Lost Boys. She's Wendy. There's no Peter. There's no Tinkerbell. Well, what is the purpose behind Peter Pan? I just want to know that. Again, it's just probably something that missed me completely, but overall, I would just like to be educated on it. Now, as for the things that I really liked, I liked what we did with Slightly and Morrow and Kirsch. Kirsch in particular, everything that we did with him in this, because Kirsch is not on the island for this because he is helping and supported with the project in his meeting that he's having with Morrow's division of Wayland, and they're debating on like, hey, bring me the assets and all of that. Good scene overall. Didn't love it. I like the back and forth between the two, and I liked how, again, the project is very, very smart of like, yeah, okay, you're going to give me $20 billion, fine, we can do that, but there is a quarantine. So after the 6-week quarantine, we'll bring them back to you so they can still study on it. Oh, no, we need them now. And then even when she raises up to 50, no, I'm not going to do it. Because the ball was completely in his court. I really did like that ending part of it, but the overall scene of the negotiation is the word. I wasn't fully in love with it, but again, the ending I was all about. But yeah, Morrow is now going back to Slightly going, hey, I will kill your mom if you don't do this. And then Slightly is like really fighting with himself and be like, oh, I just got to bring myself to do it. And he's going to try to use the brother, which I don't know why he's so fixated that it has to be the brother. There's other humans here that you could have easily done. And then the brother goes off on his own side quest with his friends that we met in episode 1. Yes, in episode 1, or it was 2. No, it was 1. And they go off on an adventure to do a little beat route to make sure no one else is coming into the island. And then this other weird conversation happens because he's trying to get information on how can I get out. There's a boat here, there's a boat there. And his friend goes, no, don't try to leave. We have everything here. And he goes, yeah, but there's monsters here. He goes, yeah, but at least we know they're here. Like, I'm just like, what? What was that conversation? And again, I think this just goes to the lack of developing everyone within this show to get fully attached to it. Because I feel like maybe they wrote something in within the script and then they got cut. Or they filmed it and it got cut within post-production. Either way, it's fine. Again, the show has been great overall. I don't think there's been a bad episode at all. But again, that conversation to me, like, I felt nothing. I was just like, why would you want to stay where you know where monsters are just because you know where they are, as opposed to being in the city where you know they're far away from you. If they come to you, it's a freak accident. I just don't fully understand. And then Slightly is like back over and he's trying to figure out, okay, what do I do? How do I get this xenomorph to be activated? Which I don't know why there wasn't a conversation. I don't recall there being a conversation. Again, correct me if I'm wrong, between Morrow and Slightly, where Slightly goes, hey, we already got one. There's already a chest burster and it's already out. We have it caged up. Why don't I just let that one free? Which also, quick tangent on that. Well, not tangent, clarification. Because that xenomorph is growing up. Now, granted, he's not full blown. He doesn't have the coat of black or anything. He's a little glossy in a lot of ways. In fact, I didn't really love how much it looked, to be honest with you, in this episode. But doesn't it need to be in a cocoon? I'm pretty sure that's part of the transformation, is that it's in a cocoon, and when it breaks out of the cocoon, then it's full xenomorph power. Grant, we might have to wait a little bit, but I don't feel like there was one, because again, it just grew, because I thought it was chest burster, comes out, it crawls away, forms itself into a cocoon, and then grows, and then here we are, we're off for the races. Now it could just it grows, and then it goes to the cocoon so it can get its coat, but again, that hasn't been established in this episode. But yeah, I don't know why that wasn't hey, is it possible that no, it needs to be naturally born, and then okay, why, and then having that conversation as well. But yeah, the other doctor, he's on his own off a side quest, and he's packing up his bag because he's about to get fired. He's mad at his wife, but he still loves her. brother comes in, hey, how do I get Wendy out of here? No, you shouldn't let Wendy leave. They have all these things. And then this is when he finds out the other lost boy, the only other guy, that's not Smee, because Smee is just sad that no one wants to play with him. Poor guy. The actress who plays Smee is really, really good in this show too. I wish he had a little bit more of a presence as well, as opposed to just to episode 3. But yeah, Kirsch calls him and says, hey, I need you to go feed the animals. The animals need to be fed, and you need to do some tests on some of them so that we can be ready for the day when I get back. Because again, he's been gone. Hey, is that other person with you? Again, unless it's slightly Wendy, Morrow, or Kirsch, or the Prodigy. I know that's not his name, but that's what I call him. Those are really the only 5 main characters that were given focus on this show. And the others just haven't been left an impression on me to like, hey, let me get to know you. Now, the other girl who got her memory wiped, I should probably know her name. That one I will take on the chin. But the other ones, they just haven't done that much of an impact on me, to be honest with you. But yeah, go. Is she with you? Looks, there she is. Nope, she's not. I can do it by myself. I can do this. And then he goes, because he could have easily gone, yeah, no, go get her. It's better with 2 people than just one. I know you can, but do it. But no, he lets him. He goes, remember all these things, do all these procedures and precautions, and go through. And he's just letting him die. I don't know. Because he goes in, he's starting to feed, and one door is like really jammed and it pops open. Like, oh, damn. Gets the food ready, opens the cage, puts his whole body in. I don't know why he did that. Don't know why you just don't open it, slide the food in, close the door, and there you go. Because then we wouldn't have a plot, right? Then our other character couldn't get to where he needs to, so that he slightly can get his alien finally fully formed. But anyway, he goes in, he puts his full body in. The goat, the eyeball alien, which, ironically, because that is the best creature so far, bumps on the glass to scare him in, so that the door is closed and he's locked in. He can just start to see what happens. And then here comes the titled episode creature, the fly. They spit on him, and they get him to completely break down. You see all the white blood coming out of him. It is pretty gross and pretty disturbing. And this is what sets the other doctor to come in. But like, oh my God, is he okay? Opens the door, and then slightly he's like, okay, he has my family. I really did like that a lot when he closes the door, and he's able to look at him face to face. He goes, please let me out. He's going, I'm sorry, he has my family. He goes, well, I have a family too. Can't do it, bud. I can't let you in. Sure enough, facehugger comes in, hugs him up. They go in through the vent. The fly's coming after them, but he closes the door, and now we're off for the races. The flies are out. The goat with the eyeball is still in the cage, but he's gonna find his way out. If we know anything about that eyeball alien, he's gonna find his way out, and he's just sitting there watching and studying. He's going to wait for someone to come in and open the door. There's some other face huggers that are probably going to get formed in as well as people come in to try to save the day. And then again, at the end, Prodigy's going to Kirsch. Everything okay? As he's seen everything breaking down. Yep, everything's going good. Everything is going precisely to plan, which again, makes me wonder, what is Kirsch's plan? He is the one I am most intrigued to watch going into next week, because if you recall, which I think it was episode 3. It could have been 4. But, it's when Slightly is first starting to manipulate, not Slightly, Morrow is starting to manipulate Slightly. And he is listening in, like he sees all, and he sees that he has been corrupted. He knows that Morrow is talking to Slightly, but he doesn't say anything. He just does the little test of, it's hard being an adult. Being an adult is being tested every single day. And then they have the interaction at the elevator. He doesn't bring up that he knows that he's spying on one of his kids. And then, of course, we have the conversation with Wendy where she's like, hey, Kirsch is right. All you humans need to die. And I don't know if that's what's motivating Kirsch, is that he does want to see them die, and he wants to see how these creatures play out. Which is really interesting when you get into the lore of Alien, because, in the first Alien, the Sith wanted to release the alien as well, and then of course Prometheus and Alien Covenant. You have what was Michael Fassbender's name in that one? I don't remember, but he was also a Sith, and he was very intrigued by it. Now you have Morrow the cyborg, and and then now you have Kirsch, who's just really, really infatuated by it and just letting things go freely. I'm really, really curious to see how he plays into it moving forward. But yeah, overall, good episode. I was really intrigued. Like I said, I was able to talk a good chunk throughout this episode because, again, a lot of things did catch my eye. It's just not one of my favorite episodes. But let me know what y'all think about it down in the comment section. Leave a like on this video if you made it this far. I will greatly appreciate it. And hit that subscribe button as I am trying to grow into my YouTube career. And don't forget to squeeze the day, guys, because life is too short not to give you all. So squeeze every opportunity that you can. Until next time, I'll see you here at Lemon Studios.